If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your favorite words I will choke.
Happy Friday, football frenzy to everyone in the sports universe. This is the AM Drive on our Twitter and YouTube pages. Unfortunately, Aaron cannot be here today. So once again, it is the thumbs up, Sammy action. I am Michael Carvella. Sammy, good divisional round weekend to you, sir.
Thank you. I am very much looking forward to it. I am very curious about who's going to win the MVP in all these games, since that seems to be the most important thing these days.
I have to admit that you before the show you did have me compromising on that a little bit, because I do agree that some guys just have a higher competitive drive, although I don't put too much stock into it. I see what you're saying about, like, Aaron Rodgers probably, it would be nice if he cared more about other things than just personal accolades. But I still like the guy. I just feel like other people rub the wrong way by it.
He is definitely the most polarizing athlete, at least in the NFL right now. And either you love him or you hate him, and there's kind of not that much in between. But when he says stuff like that, it really triggers all the people who hate him and give them lots to talk about for sure.
That's fair enough. MikeandAaronDrive.com. See our shop, sponsors, socials, and YouTube in one beautiful link tree. Support the show because we love you too. Jaguars and Chiefs. This game is up to 9 points in favor of KC. The total is set at 52.5. Sammy, I am a Colts fan, but unlike other people who want to paint the Colts and Jaguars as rivals, I don't care if the Jaguars win or lose. Like, they've never really been a threat, although it seems like they are a threat. I don't view them as a threat. And so I love what they did against the Chargers. I think it was fluky that they were down in the first place in that game. I just don't think they're even on the Chiefs level at all. The only reason that game was close in the regular season was because Jaguars did another weirdo comeback. But let's be real, Chiefs destroyed them in that game. And now it's at 9. I'm going to go with the Chiefs to cover. Although you have something to do with, you have something to say about the weather, though. I know that.
Well, the weather outside is going to be a little bit frightful, and with that said, I don't know that it will affect either team in any sort of way, other than to say that under looks like a slightly better play in bad weather. But with that being said, you got a couple of interesting stats in this game. Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday in his entire career, 41-0. The last 6 AFC championships will feature either the Jaguars or the Chiefs, including this next one. So that's a very interesting, fun stat. The Jaguars got there one time. And, I think the Jaguars will hang in there. 9 points is a lot in any NFL game. I just feel like they're not going to ever, quote unquote, quit. So a backdoor cover does seem very reasonable to me. Chiefs are up, 17 in the fourth. Jaguars, get a late touchdown, go for 2, that kind of stuff. Push,
right.
So I think you can get to a under 9 outcome in a bad weather game pretty easily. I'm not betting either side in this game though.
You think the Chiefs win, though? Is that what you're coming away with here?
I do think the Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC.
You're talking in terms of money. Yeah, I got you. I want to do this question now, but are the Chiefs the best team left in the AFC, or do you think it's closer than we think?
I actually think the gap has widened, and I don't think that the Bills are the second best team. I think actually Cincinnati is, which spoiler alert, I'm going to pick them in their game as well. But I think the Chiefs are a good few inches taller than the rest of the AFC.
Just taller,
which isn't to say they can't lose, right? Any given Sunday.
That's a good point as well. I also think the bad weather does not go well for Trevor Lawrence's fumble issues. Because if the ball's wet, let's be real, if he's having those issues, it's not a good thing. They might turn it over a couple times. This game might come down to the brilliance of Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive mind against Doug Peterson. Because I keep saying, man, Steve Spagnuolo has been with that team for a while now. Always finds a way for his guys to step up. Guys overachieve on that defense. I'm excited to see how he game plans to stop a very well used Travis Etienne, even Evan Ingram, who popped out of nowhere.
Absolutely. I don't know that it's going to rain. I think it's actually going to be super cold and super windy.
Ooh.
I don't know that rain is going to be the main outcome of the weather. And it's been very mixed. I looked it up a few times, gotten some mixed answers as to what it will be like tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see it before kickoff, right? We'll see the flags flying. We'll see how cold it is outside. That I think hurts Jacksonville, and the fact that very cold weather for a warm weather outdoor team is not the easiest to play in. But with that said, I think you're right about the defensive coordinator and trying to find ways to scheme, to take away certain things from Jacksonville, and we'll see. I think Casey wins though.
I do too. The New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 7.5-point favorites. The total is at 48. These teams, of course, did play twice in the regular season because they are division rivals, and both times it seemed like Philadelphia controlled the game. I will say this though. Okay, by the way, Aaron is on the Jaguars -8.5, which I'm sure he's okay with the 9 as well. Aaron was going to try to join, but he's not able to due to the technical difficulties. But he's on the Giants in this game. I have not really flip-flopped. I've been unsure about this because one side of me says, "Oh, Eagles." Another side of me says, "Are we sure that Jalen Hurts is fully healthy?" And that's what I'm wondering about in this game. So my best bet would have to be on a total somewhere. I would go with the under 48 here, but I think Giants could make this one closer than it should be because Daniel Jones. I know the Eagles play a lot more man than what the Vikings do, and that could hurt Daniel Jones here. But it's all up to Saquon for me. If Saquon can get chunks of yards and not just 2, 3, 2, 3, and then a 20-yarder randomly, I believe Giants could find a way to win. But for me, I'm just going to go with Eagles win. I think under 48.
So I watched that whole Eagles-Giants game in week 18. Yeah, a meaningless game for the Giants, a fairly important game for the Eagles. And I have to be honest when I say, while the Eagles were never in jeopardy of losing that game, they just didn't feel right to me. And it makes sense, right? I mean,
Right.
Hurts was out for a couple weeks. He was hurt, and then he took a few weeks off. But I don't know that rust or that cohesiveness will be back after another week off now. And so while I do think the Eagles should win this game. They have the best offensive line, the best defensive line, probably the best roster in the playoffs, at least in the NFC. Something just didn't feel right watching them. They just didn't feel like a good cohesive unit. And this is not the time of year where you're trying to figure stuff out, right? This is the type of year where you're locked in and loaded.
Consistency, yeah.
And I just don't know that they have that, right? It's been 2
Wow.
months of inconsistency. I don't know that they can just snap a finger and come back and play as this juggernaut of a team. So I'm on the Giants here plus 7.5. I don't know that the Giants will pull the upset, but I don't think they get blown out in this game either. I think they keep it close, and I'm with you as well, thinking it's more of a lower scoring game. Maybe a one possession, 20-16 kind of stuff.
And I also think that the thing that's getting me here about the under is that these are division rivals who played here now 3 times. I know the first 2 games, it was a little higher scoring, but you guys know each other. It's going to be ugly. It should be ugly because they're not supposed to like each other, and they know each other by now. So I'll tell you what, though, if this game is close, beware, Eagles fans. I'm telling you, Giants are good in close games because Brian Dable's team locks down when it needs to.
Very
that's
true.
a big factor. If this game is closer than it should be, Giants hang around. I like what you said about the cohesiveness because that's very true. We don't know if another week off is going to help or hurt them. Rest is good, but after, like you said, I agree. Week 18, they didn't look great. I agree with that. That's a great point by you.
And if you look at the Giants, thank you. And if you look at the Giants, they are playing as a cohesive unit, right? They're playing all locked and loaded, and they're all cylinders firing. They played great last week, and so in the playoffs, I mean, that's kind of like where you want your team to be. And maybe the Eagles get there, and we'll find out. We haven't seen them play now, really as a team in 2 months. We'll find out if that just happens and they're just back. But if I'm putting money on something, I want the team that I know is playing cohesively, not a team I hope is.
Right. Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Bills and Bengals and probably the hottest game of the week. And can the Cowboys keep it rolling, or the 49ers have other plans? Sammy's got a jersey on that makes me wonder about that. We'll be right back to the AM Drive on our Twitter and YouTube pages. The AM Drive with Mike and Aaron might be the best morning show ever. If you love the show, shop the merchandise for $26 hoodies, $16 shirts, even $13 mugs. High quality swag for cheap because Mike and Aaron love the fans. The best morning show, the lowest price merch at amdrive.online.
This is Popple, the next generation business card. With just a tap, your Popple instantly shares your digital business card to both iPhone and Android devices. The best part? The other person doesn't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. To pop your info, tap your Popple to the top of an iPhone, the center of an Android, or just scan your in-app QR code. And just like that, all your info is saved to their phone. More connections, more leads, more sales. That's Popple. Download our free app and get your Popple today.
Aren't you the Vice Golf guy?
Yeah, you want an autograph?
Yeah. Actually, I was just wondering if the balls are any good.
The balls are amazing. You look like a Pro Plus guy.
I thought you'd never ask. It's actually better than my old ball.
And it's half the price.
Top performing golf ball, half the price. It's almost stealing.
Quit searching the globe and get your high-performing golf balls at vicegolf.com.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Welcome back to the Mike and Sammy Drive. We are presented by MikeandAaronDrive.com. And if you want the best awesome jerseys, merchandise gear for your team player from every league, you got to go to MikeandAaronDrive.com and do what, sir?
I'm going to thumbs up, click the F right here.
That's right. That's right. Use your thumb and click the F. When you do that, the entire Fanatics experience is at your disposal. So go there, shop to your heart's content for you or a special person in your life, and you can support your team and player and our show. And for that, we thank you. Sammy, what's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm happy to get up a little early today. It's Friday. We got a walk through my house later, so it's a busy day. Yeah.
Well, you selling the house?
We're buying a new house. Yeah.
Wow, moving up in the world, hopefully.
Well, all the proceeds from this show really have helped along the way. And
right. Oh, love. We got to check that Fanatics link, by the way. Okay, Bengals and Bills. Bills are favored by 5.5, which is absolutely disrespectful. Considering it was 7-3, but whatever. The total's at 49. And I want people to understand when I say this, because I'm going to let you go first after I say this quick bit here. With like 6 minutes left in the first quarter, the Bills have 3 points, which to me is playing right into the hands of Cincinnati. Like I didn't see the Bills really coming out like a bat out of you know where. And yeah, people are like, 5.5 for the Bills. Why? Tell us your thoughts on this game. Aaron likes the Bills.
So I think the public has been all over the Bills because of the whole DeMar Hamlin story and the overblown aspect of they're playing with all this emotion, right? But that is just simply not the case. Like they didn't play with emotion the first game he came back. They were tied at halftime. They didn't play with emotion the playoff game last week. They were tied at halftime. So they're not coming out and just blowing teams out, because they're filled with all this emotion. And with that being said, they are home. There is a home field advantage in this situation, specifically if there's a little bit of snow. But I'm with you. The Bengals, to me, are the second best team in the AFC. And I don't think they have a problem going on. They went into Kansas City and won last year, which is a very difficult place to play. I did a quick deep dive with a bunch of friends about the core players of the offenses on all teams, right? And no one who I talked to had the Bills in the top 5. Fifth, and a couple people of fifth in terms of their not Josh Allen offensive talent, right? So like you have Stephon Diggs and all the rest of those guys, they just aren't a scary unit to me. And while they did score a lot of points this year, I think the probably the best secondary unit, not counting the quarterback, is probably the Bengals. So they're coming up against a team that can really light it up. And yeah, I'll take the 5.5. I don't know if they even want the 5.5. I might just take Bengals on the money line here. I really like the Bengals this week.
I'll do you one better. I think the core, not just the core offense, I think the entire team, Cincinnati might be the best team, next to the Eagles in the playoffs. Like, defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs, offensive line, quarterback and running back and wide receivers. Like, they're all monsters. Like, Samaje Perine might be your worst player, and he's a very good backup running back. It's insane to me. Like, I don't see how it's 5.5 right here. And to me, I feel like Bills fans are in for a rude awakening. I don't think this game, I say it again, Josh Allen's crowning achievement in his career right now is losing to Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. That's his crowning. That's not good to me. Like, he's very inconsistent. Even if he plays his best game, I still think the Bengals can just march him down the field because they have both Jamar Chase and their second and third guys are not bad, and they got Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine. Pick your poison. I don't feel like the Bills have a chance in this game, honestly.
The Bills obviously have a chance, and I think it comes down to this. In the last 2 years, the Bills have not had a game needing a touchdown on the last drive and scoring a touchdown to win the game. It's not happened. I think one time, over the last few seasons, that's happened under Josh Allen. I think this will be his chance for number 2. Now, I think the Bengals will be ahead. I think the Bills will have the ball. I think the Bills will need to score a touchdown, not just kick a field goal. And we'll see, right? But with that being said, I think taking 5.5 makes for a pretty safe bet in that scenario. So I'm gonna take the 5.5. I might put a little bit on the money line, but I'm with you. I think the Bengals are the better team here.
I can also see under 49 as well.
I don't know that I agree. We'll see. The Bills offense has in spurts put up big points, and the Miami secondary decided to play zero coverage, man up, press against all the receivers, and it burned them a couple of times. But they were signing guys off the street to do this. If the Bengals do this with their much better secondary, I don't know that they get burned quite as much. So it really just depends on how much gamble these two defensive coordinators want to have. But I don't really have an opinion on the total.
That's fair. You are picking the Bengals to win, though.
I'm picking the Bengals to win. I'm betting them. I'm gonna probably bet some combination of plus 5.5 and Bengals on the money line to maybe try to win a bigger one.
Ooh. All righty, Cowboys and 49ers. Cowboys, we saved you for last because I have bad news for you guys. Buccaneers are not a good team. They have not been all. I think they finished 8-9. Like they were not a good team, no matter which way you slice it. And the fact is, the Cowboys ate them up because they were supposed to. I still feel like 49ers. Brock Purdy, to me, showed me last week against the Seahawks, darn a pass rush. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, if we think the Cowboys defensive line will eat up this offensive line like it did last week, they're in for another problem here. Because I think Kyle Shanahan will have a great game plan against this pass rush. I think Brock Purdy, if you get to him, he makes very smart plays time and time again. I think 49ers cover 4. I think they win by 1. I think they win by 10 or 13 points here.
I as I'm donning the jersey, I'm also going to be on the 49ers to win the game. But I will say this. So the Niners have the advantage in the coaching. Not by a lot, but they do have the advantage. Right. They have the advantage in the skill position players. They have the advantage in the defense. They have a better offensive line. They have a better defensive line. So on paper, everything seems to be the Niners' advantage. So how can the Cowboys only be 4 and how can they win? Well, the Cowboys have disruptors. And if those disruptors disrupt, then that can wreck your whole day, right? Micah Parsons is an absolute animal. So is Nick Bosa, and so is some of the players on the Niners defense. But if Micah Parsons has the big game and disrupts that Niner offense, the Niners are going to have a tough game. And to be fair, the Niners have not faced any defense at this caliber. Not that they haven't faced good defenses, but the Seahawks are the best defense the Niners have faced since Brock Purdy took over. Right. This will be a step up in competition for him. I'm not saying he can't win. I'm not saying he can't play well. And I do agree with you. I think Shanahan has a game plan in mind that will protect Purdy more in this game than maybe in previous games. But the Cowboys have disruptors. And if those disruptors get off, I think the Cowboys can pull the upset here. But for my money and my marriage, and my wife's a huge Niner fan, I'm definitely picking the Niners here.
For your marriage. I love it. I think Dak has to play out of his mind again. If Dak misses a few throws or just like isn't making the right reads, this game can get ugly. So I'm hoping Dak plays out of his mind to keep it close. And who knows what could happen. I've always rooted for Dak and Zeke. I've always been big fans of theirs, but we're going to see what happens this week, though. It's going to be interesting. It's the last game on Sunday, as it should be, because it's San Fran fans against Dallas fans. Should be fun.
Yeah. And legacy football is always fun. It's like 1990 all over again, right, with these two.
It's like classic matchup there.
Absolutely. I will say this. You are putting Dak Prescott, who led the league in interceptions, against a defense that's probably the best in the league at taking the ball away. So there is definitely a recipe here for a bad game from Dak. If he plays the way he played last week, it will obviously be a lot closer. But yeah, I think if they get 2 interceptions off of him, this game will be basically over.
Good point. Good point. I hope for a good weekend. I don't hope for any blowouts, but if there are, I hope it's my picks. That's all I know.
The only game I think is really in jeopardy of being a blowout is Jacksonville. And only because they got off to such a bad start against the Chargers. If they get off to even half that bad of a start against the Chiefs are not the Chargers, right? The Chiefs will
put their 56-10, yeah.
Yeah, they'll put their foot on your throat and they will just continue to stomp you until the end of the game. So, the Chargers have deficiencies where the Chiefs don't in the same area. The rest of the games I think are all going to be pretty close. I think, like you said, the Eagles game is going to be ugly. The two division rivals kind of beat each other up, and I think the Niner game is most interesting to see, which playmaker makes the big play, because I think that game can go either way on really just a couple of plays.
I love it. All righty, that's it. And you guys know what happens. On Monday, we're going to turn it back around and talk about these games, and then the playoffs get narrower in terms of how many teams are there. It's almost Super Bowl time, Sammy. That's incredible. We've gotten this far.
Almost
Season 2, baby.
Football is my favorite sport to watch. I make my Sundays around it. My family watches the game. Friends come over, and yeah, when football's on, like my life is busier, but so much more fun. And when football's off, it's not nearly as entertaining. So I will look forward to these last few weeks, and then I got to figure out something to do with my weekends.
Love it. For Mr. Thumbs Up, I am Michael Carvalho saying, have a good one. Enjoy your playoff weekend. No matter who you root for, have fun out there and be safe. Have a good one, everybody.